we need more crazy stories from dating. We need to have explore that another topic.
We should.
But then nipples. Oh my god.
Nipples is crazy.
They want breast milk.
This is we have parental guidance on this podcast. I hope because I'm curious, Roy. Like, what I mean, that was interesting stories there. But from your side, what are some of the reasons why you have ghosted someone, if you ever did?
Well, I think it comes down to just so I can give you maybe a bit of a background. You know, I've had a nice date that turned out of a dating app. I can say also, you know, it came out of Tinder, to be honest. You know, you said Tinder is only for something specific.
Sorry.
I have actually. I'm not copying because it said Tinder.
I would usually agree on that, to be honest, but in this specific case, it was something a bit different. You know, the girl was super interested in me from the get-go. You know, a lot of compliments throughout texting before we even meeting. And then we get to the date, and you know, she just doesn't look like the pictures.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you know, I kind of, the thing is, she was super into me. To the fact that she couldn't let go. Like, she, you know, when I kind of gave her a colder shoulder, she was still super into me. Not in the way where I was disrespectful in any way. It's just like, you know, I was not too much of a storyteller that date. I was not too you know,
enthusiastic. You weren't.
Usually, look, I'm a very straightforward guy. But in that moment, you know, she was like hooked. She was hooked to the point where you know, I thought that if I break it down to her and give her the honest, she will break down in tears to that extent. So you know, I don't like the ghosting part too much, but in that specific case, you know, the date moved forward, and you know, when she leaned in to kiss, I kind of leaned away, so I did not. But I was sure she would get the message.
She'll get the message.
Yeah.
But turns out she didn't.
Well, she didn't. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Mad.
Yeah. She was still super hooked. She was still super into it. I still kept getting text messages after that. I didn't want to straight up block her because I felt like this would be like insanely disrespectful. So what I did was just like tell her the date was nice. I appreciate the time, but I think I will move with my own path. And she was like, no, I felt, you know, something completely different. I feel like it could be such a good fit, and maybe we should just give it another try. What do you think about that? You know, and I feel like this is something that is super dishonest, first of all, to kind of cheat on your pictures, especially on a dating app. Because I feel like girls and guys, when it comes to that, it's kind of the same thing. You don't want to get something completely different when it comes to the date, right?
What I got.
It's a huge disappointment. And I think, you know, when it comes to dating apps, you kind of judge by the pictures.
By the pictures,
I mean, bio plays a nice part, but come on, you know, it's the pictures that kind of give you the first impression of the person. And I think when it came to the first date, I was just turned off instantly.
And was this how do you say, like, when you say she wasn't like what she looked, so is it like she used a completely different, like someone else's picture, or more like she was just maybe over made up and over edited and like, so it's still a picture but just like, or she used an AI version of that picture?
Let's just say she used a lot of Photoshop to kind of
to cover some details.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I'm not a person to shame anybody in any way. It's just like she really changed her appearance to something that I don't appreciate preference-wise, you know?
Okay.
So I had a choice to make when it came to the date. I could have just broke it down to her, but like I said, this was a super sensitive person that, you know, you never know nowadays. You know, and this is something I want to point out because I've had stories that I've heard before of people who have broken down some news like that to another person, and this other person just you know, were super sensitive and kind of escalated things to make up stories or rumors, and it kind of escalates to a bad point, and I didn't want that to happen. So what I've done is just I elegantly finished the date, went my separate way, and eventually a few days later I sent that text that I told you about. But ever since then, I got a series of text messages after, and I just ignored.
I think you did the best thing, actually, because there was that kind of person. There's nothing you're going to tell them.
That's real though, because I've also been on a date where I met up with the guy. Oh God, do I even want to say his race right now? We went on a date, and when I got there, it was his face but not his body. I
think we have to also have another topic where we just talk about what I ordered versus what I got in dating. Because all these things are happening in Berlin. Kebab, abidona, and then catfish. Just Berlin that I'm leaving. We need we need another video where we talk about just what I ordered versus what I got. Because what is that?
But what do you mean it was his face and not his body?
I looked for that guy. I looked for him. I couldn't find him. I had to text him, where are you? He's like, oh, I'm outside.
No, we need another one.
And then when he waved at me, that's when I recognized, oh, it's you.
Part 2, can we? In the part 2, we always just want the stories. Maybe we should just do that. You just come and tell us all the crazy stories because where do you find them?
Oh, really? Okay.
Bumble?
That was mad.
Is that Bumble too? We really need a part 2 because we need a part 2 because we have to wrap up. But then part 2, I think we need to do a part 2, okay?